Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Love Talk. And we are going to be speaking today about people who are afraid to commit to a relationship, usually through marriage. And there's different reasons why people do that, and we want to find out why that is. In fact, we will have a couple later on today, a wonderful couple,
yes.
And he had some issues to do with commitment.
But he got it right later on. But James, fear of commitment is not the same fear of commitment as some years ago, where people used to be afraid of marriage, like, oh my God, is this person going to be the right one for me? I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person. Nowadays, people are afraid, not of marriage, but even of dating someone. It's gone to that stage that people are even afraid to date someone that is already too serious for them. And it's indeed a big problem nowadays.
And if dating has become too serious for you, then you shouldn't rent an apartment, you shouldn't get a job. If you can't handle dating, you can't handle having even a job, right? But first of all, let's see what the people of London have to say about this.
It's difficult to choose between the freedom of being single or to be with someone every day, which is what is more secure.
With the relations, there are restrictions, but if you love someone, there are no problem.
Are you in a relationship, a long one or not, and why not or yes?
Yes, I am since 6 months, and I'm not afraid about commitment because I think I have to find the good person to me, and there are no problem. I'm not afraid.
Are you afraid of this restriction? Like in the long run, are you afraid of restriction in a relationship? What is the restriction?
It's a big word, being afraid of. It's just different.
Do you see yourself in this relationship in a long run, like in the future?
Yes, I think. But I think it's not with all people. You have to find the person, and with this person, there are no problem to see the future and the engagement.
Yeah.
The engagement with this person.
Main reason is most guys cheat and abuse women.
Is that your experience?
Yeah.
So you had in your past actually was violent?
Yeah, very.
How would you actually solve that problem? What are you expecting for a relationship after such a experience?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. Because I've been hurt so many times, and I don't know. This is scary.
Are you officially both of you in each relationship on Facebook?
No, I don't like to show to Facebook that I'm in couple. Or I think we give too much information to Facebook, and I don't want him to know that I'm in a relationship too. So it's just for that, not because I'm not assuming my relationship. It's just I don't like Facebook.
In general, do you think that today people are afraid of commitments, talking in general, not just about you, and why it's happening?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid of that because they've been really badly abused, sexually or physically abused. I've been through that, the same thing, and I've got a few friends that's been through the same thing too, and they've been single for a long time. They can't trust no one.
Hello everybody. I'm not afraid of commitment because my nature is to be commitment in everything I do, and if I don't do commitment, it's like it's not a relationship for me. Yeah.
What do you think about this modern relationship where there is no commitments? How it sounds to you?
No, it doesn't have any sounds for me because I don't like this modern one. I'm like, not because I'm not flexible, I'm very flexible person, but I really like the old ones. I'm not in a mood, and my daughter is not as well in the modern one, into the modern one. Yeah, I think everybody has in their life. If they tell you that don't, they lie. You can't have just happiness in your life, no. But I prefer to not remember about them. I don't think that one person in this world has a perfect relationship without any bad moments, because this is our nature, our human being nature, to have bad and good in our lives. And many have more bad than goods, and the other way around. But this is life, and you should take it like it is. Why do you ask for perfection if nobody is perfect?
We just heard there from the people of London why some people don't want to commit. Now we prepared a few reasons here why. We have some notes we want to read to you, a few reasons why people are afraid of committing. We may not be able to go through all of them, but we're going to try to go through some of them. So the first one, of course, it's evident, is that people won't have enough freedom. They'll lose their freedom. But then relationships are like this. You give and you receive, right? It's a give and take. So yes, you lose freedom for some things, but you gain so much more. So you shouldn't be afraid of that.
I would even put that down to lack of maturity. Because, a relationship is about two people being together and sharing. But let's go to the next one, which is loss of space. Loss of space, why? Could be for many reasons. You have this person who maybe has been single for so long, and maybe past their 30s or not even that, and they find it hard to share the space with someone else, and that can be a problem.
Yeah, and actually sometimes physical space, because you don't want someone to come into that bubble that you created in your apartment, in your imaginary bubble, we have to say. Of course, one that is also quite obvious, that some people would say, is that they'll only have one sex partner for the rest of their life. Now, I have a particular view on this, and I think that as opposed to what some people think, that if you have only one sex partner, this is a problem, it's actually good. Because if you do something with one person that you love for a long period of time, it's supposed to get better, right? It gets better, you get more close to each other, more intimate. So it's never a problem. If you think that was a problem, that can actually be the best thing.
But, I have another one to add to the ones that we just mentioned, which is previous failed relationships. I think this is one of the main ones.
Yes.
Even if you're talking to someone and they say, oh, I don't like the commitment word, they will never recognize, they will never say to you, oh, it's because, I was dumped, or there was a problem with my past relationship, or maybe I was betrayed. But this is one of the biggest problems. The person did not overcome that issue yet.
And usually, if the person is afraid to commit, more often than not is down to one of these problems, which is that they've been hurt in the past, something has happened, and they're afraid to commit. Now, the next one is one of the 21st century, going back maybe 10, 15 years ago, still in the 21st century, but we wouldn't have this problem. And the next one is some people are afraid to make it official on Facebook.
Oh my dear.
Believe it or not, and trust me, this is a thing. This is a thing. Some people don't want to change their Facebook status to engage.
Why?
Dating.
Do you think that is?
I think some people want to keep other people on the other side thinking that they are still available.
Okay, again.
But listen, this is a thing. It's a thing. It's a very real thing right now.
But Oh my goodness, you don't want to know my opinion about this one.
Do you want to go for the next one?
We'll just move on to the next one, yes. Another one is that the person will have to make, well, it's a trauma that happened in the past, which we can very much link to the previous failed relationship point. And we have this one in the back of the person's mind. They have doubts about the relationship.
Yeah.
And I could even add fear of being betrayed. You know, that is a big one as well.
Yeah.
Many times they don't say it, but this is how they feel. Maybe they've had a failed relationship again, and it all has to do with fear at the end of the day.
And this one you were mentioning about afraid that there's something wrong with the relationship. That's another category in itself, because you may not have a trauma, you may not be afraid to commit per se, but maybe it's that one person, that one relationship that in your mind you don't think it's marriage material, you don't think it's going to work, and so that's why you prolong doing the inevitable, which is to say, listen, I'm sorry, but I don't think this is going to work. And some people say, oh, I'm afraid to hurt the person's feelings. Sincerity is always the best option. Now, after the break, you're going to see Elena doing the quiz to the couple that is here already in the studio with us, and it's going to be a funny one for sure. We'll be right back.
Let's see what happens. Welcome back. This is Love Talk. Are you ready for our weekly love quiz? Let's see how well Chris and Hazel know each other. Are you ready, guys?
Yes, we're ready.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with Chris. Chris,
Okay.
listen to this. I've got a few questions for you.
Go.
First question. What's her favorite song? Time starts now. Go.
From Titanic, Celine Dion.
Well done. Okay, then let's go to the second one then. Let's see if you know this one. What's her dress size? Time starts now.
14.
Wow. Well, actually it says 14 to 16.
I was going to say 14, 16, but
Were
I'll play
you?
it safe and say with a 14.
Okay, let's see if you get this one 100% right. Third question. What's the name of her favorite celebrity? Time starts now.
Favourite celebrity?
Yes.
That one I'll pass.
Are you sure? Well,
Favourite
anyway.
celebrity, all right. Favourite celebrity. Let's go.
Time's up, time's up.
Time's up.
Yeah, you don't have much time. Just a few seconds.
Okay.
Well, her favorite celebrity is Mandela.
Mandela.
Yeah.
I should have known.
Yes, you should have. Well, I'm going to give you 2 more chances.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
go to the fourth question.
Yeah.
What is she most scared of? Time starts now. Let's go.
Most scared of? I think falling. Am I right?
No. Come on. Time's almost up.
Spiders?
And? Well, time's
It's a
up.
creepy
Time's
crawly.
up. Time's up. It's spiders and worms.
Oh, so I got it right then. Spiders.
Well, spiders and worms, so half.
Oh, that's a bit.
Well,
Oh.
you still have another question.
Okay, good.
Okay, try to
Right.
get this one right.
I'm ready.
What did she wear on your first date? And time starts now. Go.
Pink. Pink dress.
What?
Pink.
No.
If I've got the right date as the
Come on,
first
you've got
date,
a
which
few
one we
more
call the
seconds.
first date?
No. Okay, time's up now. She wore black trousers and a black top.
No, that's not first date.
Well, Chris, you've had your chance.
Okay.
And we are now going to ask a few questions to Hazel. Hazel, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Yes? Okay, let's see if you can do better than him, okay?
Okay.
He's done quite well, but not so... Sorry, Chris. Right, first question. What did he wear on your first date? Time starts now. Go.
Shirt and trousers.
Okay, what color was the shirt?
No, I'm being facetious. The shirt was a plaidish shirt.
Color?
White shirt with
Time's up,
dark
time's
lines
up.
and dark trousers.
Okay. It was indeed, of course, trousers and a shirt. I would be worried if you wore a skirt. And it was a blue shirt. Okay. But we've got a few more questions for you. Okay, question number 2.
I think she had that right.
What shoe size is he? And time starts now.
11.
You sure?
10 and a half to 11.
That's
The
correct.
cut, yeah.
That's correct. Well done, Hazel.
Yay.
Okay, one more for you. Third question. What way does he like his eggs? Time starts now.
Scrambled eggs.
Well done. You see, women. Okay. Fourth question for you, Hazel. What would he say is his best skill? Time starts now.
Talking. He's very articulate, a good talker.
You got it right. He described it as a person, a people's person.
Definitely.
Okay. And last question. Who is his favorite singer? And time starts now.
His favorite singer, Stevie Wonder.
Try again. You don't have much time, Hazel.
Marvin Gaye.
No. Okay, time's up.
Okay.
It's BBCC Womans. I think I'm... Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Fred Hammond. All
Yeah.
right. So, well, guys, we will find out the score. We'll see the scores later on the show. We are now going to a break, but we will be back soon, as I said, with the results of this quiz. See you soon.
Hello, welcome back, and I'm going to let Elena tell you the score of the quiz
Well,
part. How was it?
out of 5, Chris failed 3, so you only got 2 right, yes.
2 points.
Yeah. And Hazel, you got 4 right, 4 correct answers, and only 1 wrong answer.
I don't
So
like losing, but I don't mind losing.
she knows you better than you know her.
Well,
And I think until now you're the couple that has had the most questions
most.
right.
Yes.
But then again, you're only the second couple to do this quiz.
thanks. Fill me up then.
So guys, thank you for being on the program.
Yes,
Pleasure.
And it has to be said, we have been trying to get you on the program for a while,
Yeah.
but you haven't been available. So thanks for being here. I think your story is going to be very important. And tonight we're talking about people who are afraid to commit.
Okay.
And why they're afraid to commit. And you, Chris, you have a little bit of a story to do with that, because before you met Hazel, you had a few relationships that didn't go that right. Is that right?
Yes, I had quite a few relationships that didn't go right, but it wasn't that. I think it starts way before that. In my situation, growing up family, parents divorced, case of, let's say, even my aunts, uncles, all divorced at the same time. So I've always seen that sort of situation come through. So coming through that and coming through seeing my parents go through a lot, it was a little bit of an issue. But I remember many years when I was young, I said, when I do, I will do this forever. I made my decision from a young time, but I knew it had to be the right person. So I made a few mistakes along the way in trying to find the right person. And there was that fact of not making that commitment because you don't want the same thing to happen. So subconsciously, there was always this thing in the background saying, well, this is going to happen. That sort of thing.
Because that's all you saw growing up.
Well, that's all I knew in that sense along the way. And it's funny because I've got an older sibling, younger sibling here as well. Older sibling got married and same thing, got divorced straight after. Then younger sibling got married before I did, and same thing happened again as well.
Now, the interesting thing is that you said you were in these relationships, but you never committed. Was it because you thought that these relationships weren't 100% right? You weren't sure they were going to work?
Well, I've made a mistake in the past of actually making that commitment to someone, and they were quite deceitful and deceiving. It turned out really wrong. Even after that, there was a bit of gap, not really wanting to tread in that place of relationship. Then when it did open up again, same thing. But then I'd say even, you can always blame the situation, blame everybody, it takes two. Making the wrong choices. That's what it was, for the wrong reasons with the people, until having better understanding later on.
Right. So you were afraid to commit because of what you saw in your family, but also because you saw that relationship wasn't 100% right. There was a gap there,
Yeah.
and you didn't want to proceed with committing if you felt that so you had a doubt in the back of your mind that it could work.
There was a doubt in the back of the mind, and after growing up in a situation where you've always seen arguments, you've always seen fights and all that, soon as you're in a relationship and let's say a little bit of friction starts in any kind of way,
Then you remember.
it's like you remember and you think, is this how it's going to be for the rest of your life? No, I'm not going to do that too.
This happens quite often, you know. People who say, no, I'm going to do better when I grow up. I'm not going to be like my father or my mother or my sister. Maybe, you know, it applies to anything, drinking, any bad example. But some of them, they say, oh, you know what, I turned out to be just like them or worse. Because maybe when difficulties came, the person remembered, oh, this is all I'm worth. This is all I can do. I can't do better than this. And it's not true. I mean, if you believe, you can really be different.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much of worth. It was so much of just identifying and seeing. Just say any little argument at something. It was more of, is this how it's going to be later on, just like that? Well, it's not worth
So you jump ship at that time. What about you, Hazel? Your story is a little bit different, right? What was your story?
I think growing up, I knew that I eventually wanted to meet my Prince Charming one day, but seemingly that one day took a bit longer.
So he didn't come riding on a horse then?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
I tried.
I think he came walking. This one came, okay then.
In London, it's in London, so there wasn't much horses around in London.
So please, when I stop me when I put on that white horse and put on the silvers, you know.
But so my Prince Charming didn't come at that time, and I just kept myself busy. I was living my life, investing in me, investing in my academic life, in my career, enjoying my life, going and coming as I want, really, until I met Mr. Right.
So was the question of meeting the right person, was that on the back of your mind, or it's something you never really thought about?
No, I thought about it. It was always there in my mind, but I knew from a young age what I wanted and what I didn't want. And I felt if I can recognize what I didn't want, I didn't have to take it.
Oh, that's interesting. I admire that.
And you know, your story is and your example is a double-sided coin, because it has a very good point, which is you weren't moping around that there wasn't someone in your life at that point. So you did something positive with your life. You studied, you progressed in your career, and that's great.
Invested in herself.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. People should do that. The other side of the coin is that some people use their career as an excuse for not dealing with their love life.
They hide behind it.
Yes, which I know it wasn't your case, but I'm mentioning that, Elena, because there are people who do that, and it's when they wake up to the fact that they have emotional needs and they need someone, sometimes they feel it's too late. It's never too late, but they feel it's too late because they hid behind the career all that time.
I even think from what she's saying, from what Hazel just said, that it has a lot to do with how you see a relationship and where you go and what you want for your life. So you come across like, you know, you just took your time, I know what I want, and I'm going to focus on me. And then I know that sooner or later I'll find my other half.
That's it. That's
so
it.
this is a positive attitude.
Yeah.
But if you had done this in a way like, oh, you know, I don't really want to face this or that has to do with the love life, maybe things wouldn't have turned out so well.
But it's important for people to understand that you can't hide behind your career, right? You can say, I can't deal with it this year because I'm dealing with something very important, but it can't turn into 2 and 3 and 10 years. So just bear that in mind. Now, you guys have been married for how long?
5 years and
5 years.
9 months.
9 months.
Got to get that right.
Now,
Precisely.
I spoke to you guys before, and I know that usually couples have problems adapting and they have arguments and so on. I know that you didn't have those many arguments. Am I right?
Yeah. No, we don't.
Why do you think there was?
I believe that it's a case of knowing what you don't want before we came into the relationship. And especially in the beginning as well, we spoke about taking time out that it was funny, it was a bit like a meeting in a way, taking time out at the end of the month and on Thursday to actually talk about all the things that has built up in any kind of way. If something I don't like, I'll tell Hayes exactly what I don't like. If Hayes something Hayes don't like about me, we'll say exactly.
So you were honest with each other.
We're honest with each other.
Yeah.
Totally honest
That's
about
quite
if there's
mature,
anything particular.
Yeah,
And also we recognize, our personality types. So, I'm the calm personality type.
That's true.
He's not so calm.
That's true.
So we could sort of gel better, and I could understand him better, and he understands me better.
Yeah.
but also the fact that you guys, when you got married, you weren't 18 years old. Let's say that.
No, we weren't. We were 19.
Okay, let me do the math.
Mature. We got married quite mature, and I think getting married mature and different experiences in life, not just about relationship, in life itself,
Yes.
does actually prepare you better.
Definitely.
Yeah, you definitely know what you don't want from what you do want.
Although that's not the rule of thumb, because I tell you, there's a lot of people who get married later in life as compared to people who get married at 20, but they still have the same problems and there's still the same baggage that they brought from other relationships. The same things still happen. So it's not a guarantee of success.
Yeah.
But is that a case of mature in the mentality? That's what I wonder as well at the same
Yes,
time.
that's what we were trying to say, because sometimes, like you said, you were mature mentally, but sometimes there are people who are mature, maybe more mature in their age, but not necessarily mentally.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's also important to work on yourself, understand you,
Very so.
understand what you want, understand where you're going, understand your own value system. So it helps you to identify, okay, you're here, what you want, and where you're going. So when that person comes, you can both have vision, you can both have understanding and compromise, to get to where you need to get to.
This is very important. You see, I don't see any anxiety from what you're saying. Many people that we advise, they are very anxious. They say they are not even in their 30s and they're already panicking. So this is a great example.
Absolutely.
Just take your time.
Now, after the break, we want to hear from you guys. Although you didn't have arguments, I'm sure there was adapting issues, right? Everyone has adapting issues. You were a bachelor, right, Chris? Living in your bachelor's pad, facing the river, more or less.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's those adapting issues. We want to know what they were, and we want to know how you work through that, because I'm sure that that's going to help other couples as well who are getting married now, and they may be very young or not so young, but that adapting period always happens. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, what we know about the couple here so far is that they didn't really argue in the beginning and that they got married at 19. Are we right so far?
That's right. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Answer. You should have told him wrong answer.
So tell me something. I mean, even though there weren't arguments per se, but what was it that you guys found difficult adjusting? I think you go ahead first, Hazel.
I wouldn't say difficult, I would say different in the sense that I'm quite a logical, structured person. And, in terms of like my sleep pattern and what have you, I prefer to go to bed at a certain time. And Chris is very nocturnal, so, Chris quite enjoys going to bed 2 o'clock in the morning and, having to be up at 5, and that's okay occasionally, but, not every day.
Wow.
So that took a little use, kind of adjusting, and I worked on it to improve his sleep
How
pattern.
did you work on it?
Wow.
Chamomile tea.
He's interested because I am the nocturnal one.
Right.
I'm a night person. I can hoover the house, clean the house, do all my work emails, everything at night, and it just flows.
Yeah.
And how? So chamomile tea.
Chamomile tea is one, and
That one doesn't work for me.
there's a few other things to encourage him to come to bed on time.
Okay. We'll leave that one to the side.
Yeah, we'll go for later.
But Elena, something very interesting is that I'm sure that for many young couples, that would have been an argument starting point, right?
Yes.
Why don't you come? Actually, for us, that has been an argument starting point in the past. You know, why don't you come to bed
For
earlier?
you,
Yeah, for me, exactly, because
he's Mr. Organized. And I told him the other day, stop organizing me. Stop trying to organize me. He's got time for everything. And I said, please, you know, let's sleep. It's late. I said, I don't want to sleep. I don't feel like chamomile tea doesn't work for me
like
anymore.
sometimes I want you to fit into my schedule, right?
Yes. So stop organizing me.
So, but you see, that's so interesting because that has been an argument starting point for many couples. Perhaps because of your maturity, you were able to deal with it effectively. Chamomile tea and other things you tried which worked. That's good. Now, you, Chris, what did you find it difficult to adapt to?
Do you know, it's very much to what Hayes just said. I mean, there's two I'll mention, but one is she's got a nickname. She thinks I'm eccentric. I don't think I'm eccentric, right? But she says because of the hours step and when I want to do things, or if I get an idea in my head, I just want to get up and do it and type it up and that sort of thing. So it was all about the timing and realising that, well, it's not like before when you was living on yourself. It took a little while to readjust to that side, that you don't just in the middle like make all this noise or whatnot. Those little things were, I'd say, the bit of readjusting of actually living together.
Because that's important, because I think even though your partner understands that you may be nocturnal and so on, there has to be understanding from the other side as well to say, look, you know, okay, I know that I have this idea now, but let me do it in a way that I don't.
But you know, the good thing about being so different is that you complete each other and you help one another, and there is a balance.
Yes.
Your differences bring a balance to everything, to your life, and now I can say I'm more on time, I'm more punctual.
Getting there.
I am a lot more calmer and I speak less because my husband has helped me with those things.
And vice versa. Now I speak more and I'm not so uptight about time.
Exactly.
Used to be. I still am, but more relaxed. But you said there were two things. What was the other thing?
No, I was just saying, from that, one thing I realised in our relationship is allowing Hazel to be Hazel. It's not for me to return and say, well, this has got to be this way, this has got to be... I've got to allow her to be Hazel, the person I actually was attracted to all through. Exactly, I realised the same thing with Hazel, that before there was a case of things I do, and it was a matter of her just allowing me to be me, because that's who I am at the end of the day, and that's who Hazel is. But just what you said, it complements each other, realising, you know, the areas where you can build and strengthen.
That's very, very good, what you just said. I was actually writing an article about this the other day. People who are convinced that they can change people. They get married with something in mind. I have a mission. I'm going to change this person. She's all right. I like this about her and that. But when we get married, I'm going to change him. But guess what? It doesn't happen.
You can't.
But sometimes both think that way. So, but they don't tell each other that. So they get into a relationship and then later a marriage, and they secretly, you know, the hidden agenda, they're like, I'm going to change this guy, and then he's like, I'm going to change her. And they argue because it doesn't happen. There's no such thing as...
It's a tug of war that nobody
wins. You can get better at something, but you are who you are. I mean...
That's it. Be more of who you are, encourage it more.
That's the person you met in the first place.
And Chris, you just, I think for us to end now, you are a, how would you describe your profession? Personal developer?
Development training coach.
Development training.
Yeah, speaking.
Hazel, do you feel that sometimes Chris is trying to develop you?
like he tries to organize
to
me?
motivate you?
He does, he does. And it's quite good to a certain extent in terms of the motivational side, inspiring me to get on with my studies and, you know, the different things that I'm good at, and I may be doubting myself. And it works, and sometimes he does it in a way that, you know, I won't realize that he's doing it, but I realize he's doing it, and just allow him to do it and enjoy it as we go along.
That's great.
I mean, he's a positive person, isn't it? So
it is. Yes,
it's good.
It makes me laugh. So.
Good. All right, guys, I really liked you having on the show, and after trying So for so long, we finally got you here.
It's our pleasure. It's great to be here.
It's great. And actually, your story is inspirational for various reasons. First of all, because it shows people that if you don't get married at 25, it's not the end of the world.
Oh no!
Right? You can still be very much happy meeting that person at whatever point.
Or even happier, because some people are not ready until they are 30, 40.
And also that, you know, the process of arguments and disagreements doesn't always have to happen. There's always an adjusting period, but it doesn't have to be through arguments.
It's not the worst thing at the end of the day. I do think, I'm not saying it's wrong to actually have disagreement. It's okay to disagree. But it's same thing, allow the person to be and listen. Both listen to each other.
Okay.
Understanding.
Thank you so much, guys.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For coming.
And before we leave you, just some important points on being afraid of commitment. You know, we have to commit to things in life every day, right? You commit, for example, when you take on...
It's part of life.
Exactly. You take on a degree, right? A degree takes 4 years, 5 years. You commit to that. And you can't be afraid that you're going to change your mind halfway through it. You need to think, look, this is going to be good for me, and you commit to it. And a relationship sometimes can be like that.
Yes, indeed. And I would even say that if you are afraid to commit, even after everything you've heard here today, you have to really look inside, look deep inside and see why. What is it that makes you so afraid? And deal with that fear. Because if you don't go past that, if you don't overcome the fear, then it will always be there. Even if you try to motivate yourself, self-motivate yourself, like, oh, I'm going to do this. If it's still there, it's bound to give you problems in the future.
And the thing is, people usually fear committing for two reasons. First of all, because you feel that that person that you're with, there may be something wrong, and you don't believe in your mind that this relationship is going to work. So you're afraid to commit because you think that in the end there will be a problem. The other reason is because of issues that you may have built up throughout your life, like Elena was saying now, and you need to look into that. Actually, Chris had to do this, as he mentioned. Look into what those issues are, deal with them, because unless you do that, you will not be able to commit. So whatever, whether you fit into the first category or the second, if you fit into the first, by the way, and you think this person, the relationship with this person will not work, then don't waste time. Be sincere, and if there isn't a commitment of marriage at that point yet, then make a decision to move on, and don't waste any time. If you are married, then perhaps there are things you can do to try to make the relationship a lot better.
Can I just add one last point before we go? If you are not yet 100% sure, please be always, and I think this is number one, you should always be sincere with the other person. Don't get yourself into a relationship, don't make the other person dream about something that is going to be a nightmare because you are not ready.
And
so sincerity is very important. And if you're not ready, don't go there yet.
And don't use the excuse of, I'm afraid to hurt her feelings, or that's why I haven't been sincere with her. You know, you're going to end up hurting her feelings anyway when the bomb explodes. So it's better that you are sincere and do it in a way that you dealt fairly with both parties and solve the problem. So we hope that today's program has been helpful, and until next week, have a wonderful afternoon.